Hey everyone, welcome back to Pretending with Dice. As always, I'm your host and game master, AJ. Just a quick announcement before we recap what happened last time and get into the game. This episode will be the last that we see of Bork, Pronce and Enothe for a few episodes, as next time we'll be beginning our big Star Trek Adventures crossover with our friends from the Spotlight podcast, to coincide with the release of both that game and the new Star Trek series, Star Trek Discovery. We hope you'll stick with us with that, but we're definitely going to be picking right back up with our D&D storyline after the crossover is complete. Another small note on this episode, we had some mild problems with one of our microphones during recording, so I have had to go back in and re-record some parts where I'm speaking for extended periods of time, as the audio glitches weren't exactly ideal. I've done my best to make the re-recorded bits as seamless as possible with the original recording, but yeah, just a heads up in case any changes in the audio seem a little bit jarring. Right then, let's recap what happened last time. After taking a couple of days to relax following their successful investigation into the missing children of the village of Eravale, our adventurers were asked to stop into the town's watch house to answer a few questions by the watchman that they had become friendly with, Officer Lambert. While there, they overheard a noise coming from the cells and met a man who'd been caught attempting to break into the local temple several days previously. The man appeared to have lost his mind, but through some patient questioning, they managed to get out of him that he had been forced into breaking into the temple by some mysterious strangers in red robes in order to try and steal the temple's treasured artifacts, the Relics of Meilar. After realising that he was scratching at his chest quite a lot, one of the temple healers was brought in to examine him, and a large circular glyph was discovered on his chest, beyond the powers of the healer to remove. The group then decided to head over to the temple to take a look at these relics, and yeah, that's where we left off. Let's jump right into it. Okay, so leaving the watch house and Officer Lambert behind you, the priest leads you across the town square to the Temple of Shantea. As you cross the square, you can't help but notice the dark skies. There's definitely kind of a thunderstorm sort of brewing on the horizon. You might want to keep an eye on that. He shows you in through the front doors of the temple. You've been in here before, if you remember the first time you arrived at the village when you were looking for a healer for Bork. But now that you're in less of an urgent rush, you've got a bit more of a chance now to kind of have a bit of a proper look around at the temple interior. So as you go through the doors, you get a good look at the main room. 2 rows of stone columns flanking a central aisle leading up to the altar. There's also several rows of pews facing the altar on either side of this aisle. Along the walls are several large stained glass windows depicting what looks like various scenes related to the worship of Shantea, which you'll recall, Pronce, is the goddess of agriculture, farmers and summer. Also along the walls, set into small alcoves, are several stone coffins or sarcophagi, presumably of local leaders, heroes, religious people. None of them really draw your eye at this point. But behind the altar, at the head of the main temple chamber, the largest of the stained glass windows sort of dominates the room. It's depicting the goddess Shantea herself, smiling down benevolently upon a temple surrounded by what looks like kind of fields ready for harvest. The temple depicted seems to look very much like the one at which you're standing. And at the temple's door is depicted a robed individual holding aloft a staff, and from his other hand, glowing light is emanating. But below the stained glass window is another one of these stone sarcophagi. This one, however, you can see from even right from where you're standing, has a glass display case as part of the lid. As you approach, you can see contained within appears to be a long staff of some sort, wooden, about the length of yours actually, Pronce. Although it does appear to be broken in the middle. Next to it, sat on a cushion, is a large purplish gem encased within a kind of golden framework. It's kind of unmistakably a spell focus of some sort. These, you would surmise, are the Relics of Meilar.
Does Pronce, can I roll to see if this focus is immediately, like, appealing in some way, shape or form?
Well, as in, like, better than yours, or...?
Yeah. Can I identify it on that level?
It would take a little bit more of a closer inspection to see if it's better than yours, but you can definitely take a look at it and see if it's still got a magical kind of aura to it.
Well, as long as I'm confident to look at it, it's a spell focus, and that's enough right now.
Yeah,
it's be confident. I'm interested.
It's recognisable as a spell focus sort of thing.
Okay, so that's where Pronce's attention is immediately fallen and it's fairly fixed at this point.
I'd be interested in knowing if there are any markings on the staff itself, if they match what's on the chest of the guy.
I guess just make a perception. Make an investigation check.
Go for it, Bork. Roll it up, bro.
It's kind of like a closer look on it, and just to see if this looks right.
20.
Natural 20. Now that's rolling with gas. No, the stuff itself doesn't have a lot of markings on it.
Such a waste of
it was a bit of a waste of a 20, but you can
you can see that so
you can very confidently say that it doesn't appear to be related to the markings on the guy's chest.
I'll take that.
Yeah, you're very confident in that fact.
Well, there's no markings on this.
The priest kind of leans in and says, "Well, yeah, I mean, Meilar, like I said before, he defended the temple back in the Demon War and fell doing so. But yeah, his relics have lain here with his body ever since."
So his body's underneath.
Enothe?
Yes. So
Weren't you in the Demon Wars?
I was around during it. I wasn't in them.
Okay.
So you've never heard of anything along these lines?
I have not. As far as I know,
You can make a history check if you want, or are you actively saying like, "I don't want to talk about it"?
I don't want to talk about it. Do that.
Demon Wars were a long time ago. I don't want to talk about it.
I don't want to talk about it.
I mean,
yeah, sure. I want to make a history check.
yeah, I mean, you don't have to share the information with them. You might have heard of stuff.
Internal.
Yeah.
History. Is that a thing? Where's that? Up there.
Yeah.
Where H is. 12.
12. You haven't heard of this particular person from the Demon War, but like, it's a story that was repeated the countryside over. I mean, a lot of towns had sort of local people who were,
It was common.
who were sort of then branded local heroes after the war, of like, because of their role in it, of like particular heroic feats, sort of stood up and defended their towns and stuff. So this isn't like this isn't
something unusual.
Yeah, this isn't like, this is the hero of the Demon War, sort of thing.
But honestly, this is the kind of thing that happened a lot around that time. There was always someone that died, and it's just, it gets warped a bit. Normally there's not that much power in the relics they leave though, so I don't understand why people would want to take them.
Okay.
Is there anything is there any kind of especially powerful magical aura around anything here?
I suppose I should roll.
You can make an Arcana check and see if you sense anything. Yeah.
15 plus 5, 20.
20. I mean, actually, the spell focus itself, compared to like, considering like it's been sitting in this cabinet for the better part of 70 years nearly, it's still giving off a pretty hefty magical flow to it.
Well, gentlemen, this focus here, this gem, I feel the power radiating. I feel it's lore.
Any chance you could put that in English? Or whatever it is.
That green thing there in the box,
Common.
that's proper power.
That right there, mate. Listen, geese.
Let me call my spell focus guy. Let me call my magical spell focus guy. He'll get you a proper price on it.
I know a guy who knows a guy who saw some guy take some stuff off the back of a truck. That's all I'm saying. Back of a horse and cart, if you know what I mean.
Yes, the focus itself appears.
It's retaining its power quite well for something. So, I mean, magical focuses tend to be passed down from like master to student and things. But oddly jiving with like a guy who was just defending this very, it's not a big town. This is a small village, really. Like, it's quite powerful, really. And like I say, considering the guy died, and it's not like this is a hero of the age kind of thing. It's quite a powerful object. There's magical focuses that are like your first Your first level.
Baby's first focus.
Yeah, or your kind of low-level wizards would make as part of a, to kind of focus their power that are maybe a little bit crude or whatever. But this one seems to have held on to its power.
If nothing else, gentlemen, I can tell you this relic, it holds value. There may well be people seeking this, it seems likely.
I'll take your word for that.
I guess we have to stake out the temple.
Turning to the priest, has anybody come asking about this relic at any point recently? Has there been any interest? Have you seen unusual characters perhaps eyeing this in a way not dissimilar from the way I may or may not be eyeing it right now?
Well, I'm not going to say nobody ever asks about it. We do occasionally get the odd sort of person with an interest in the history of the Demon War, but even our own sort of head priest, Father Mullen, he was only a young boy when the war itself happened, so it's sort of to say that the pilgrims come often wouldn't be entirely truthful. We don't get a lot of out-of-town visitors here.
So there's nobody you could point us to who is obviously interested.
In fact,
guys, I'm out of ideas.
This is leaving us at kind of what do we do next? Stake out.
Sorry, continuing the buddy cop movie thing, like you did the good cop, bad cop, and you're now like, should we get some peanuts?
I guess we find a man and we sit opposite and just wait for something to happen.
Well, we've two targets right now, two avenues of investigation. We've the man with his bloody chest and his wound, which seems like a likely candidate for something happening in the next day or so, and we've this item here which, of all the things in this temple, this is surely what he was alluding to. So, who wants to look at what? Do we have any volunteers? Now,
you made the guy in the cell uncomfortable, so it makes no sense for you to be there.
I think, and this spell focus is definitely. It looks like it's going to get up and walk away if I don't keep it.
I mean, it's probably just as likely to do if you keep an eye on it. So I'm leaving Bork with you, especially as you guys have this glorious bromance going on.
High five. It's more than a high five, in fact. It's like a high five and like an elbow touch and like a couple of other little bits that we've figured out in the pub while
somehow we're freeze frame in there as well. Yeah,
it's a complete waste of stopping time. You don't stop time just for a freeze frame.
What a waste of a 7th level spell.
I'm guessing this is like about midday still.
It's about midday. Yeah, I mean you spent. It's approaching midday. You took your time making it to the police station, the watch house for, your talk with Lambert and that, and then you spent a bit of time in the cells, and that. So yeah, it's approaching midday.
What time did they catch this guy? Was he attacked? Did he come in here at night? Did you say?
Yeah, it was early evening. We closed up for the day, and
what time did you close?
Probably about 8.
Is it worth coming back in the evening, or shall we just stay here till the evening?
I'm thinking, priest, is it okay if perhaps I could have a closer look at this item? Is it possible to open this case, or am I treading on hallowed ground by even asking these questions?
Well, I'm sure we could. We would have to replace it afterwards.
Oh, of course.
I really don't know if to trust you or not on this. but the priest does. You seem like a good stand-up guy, and after all, you helped Jeremy.
I didn't burn down the house.
No, that was the goblins. The goblins. Exactly. Yeah.
More drinks for everybody.
He goes, let me go get the key. Disappears into a back room, comes back out. He's got quite an old-looking but sort of small key. Unlocks the small latch on the glass cabinet and retrieves the item for you. This is it.
Inspection.
Examining it more closely, is there anything more that I can detect now from like having it in my hand? Now that I've actually a feel for the focus.
Make an Arcana check.
17 plus 5.
Okay, yeah. I mean, now that you're holding it, you can definitely sense the strong magical aura of the thing. It's definitely very powerful. You feel like when Meilar was alive, it would have been even more powerful than this. You sense that as a sort of spell focus itself, it's at least as good as the one that you're currently using. as far as kind of additional enchantments and things, you do actually sense kind of like a little spark of something in its kind of magical makeup, but you're unable to identify exactly what that is.
So, sort of weighing it in his hand, turning to the rest of the group. This is a very nice spell focus. Thank you very much, sir. And he hands it back to the priest to put back in the box.
Okay, right. The priest
Everyone breathes a sigh.
Yeah. Yeah. And he thanks. Okay. Locks it up again. Yes.
Okay, so short of waiting for people to come and potentially take this, Bork, you seem to have something in mind. What were you thinking? Like, if we leave, obviously we've the man in the cells who probably should be kept an eye on because, well, he could be one to combust at any moment, let alone anything else. Who knows? So
Don't set fire to him.
Can we move things along a little bit?
It's just what comes to mind. Were you thinking of possibly visiting a place with a 3-letter name beginning with P?
The pen.
Yeah, we've got some hours to kill, I think. I don't think anyone's gonna take the weird focus with the hocus pocus, so I think we should go to the pub.
What do you reckon, Enid?
Enid? Just because you can backflip doesn't mean you can dodge an arrow. This is bringing some feelings of deja vu. I guess I'll stay here and watch the important thing while you guys go and get drunk then.
You think that the focus in the box is more important than the man in the cell?
I think they're both important.
But the man in the cell's like, somebody could turn up and get him at any minute, whereas the focus, we're going to hear a commotion.
Officer Lambert's with the man in the cell. We've already sort of got someone watching them.
Seems like a good cop.
You sure you don't want to come to the pub?
I'm positive.
Do you want me to bring you a beer?
No.
The priest at that point looks
back and forth.
Can you bring me a beer?
Yeah, sure. You've been helpful enough. That was a very nice focus. It felt lovely.
Thank you. Father Mullen doesn't let me drink very often.
Pronce has a brief moment of like, how many beers before I can get that key? So to the pub then, shall we?
Can I find a newspaper to just hit Pronce on the nose every time he thinks something bad?
No.
Bad Pronce. Bad. No.
Okay, you two are going to the pub then.
We'll ask around. Don't worry. We'll make use of the time.
Bring back some veg.
Yeah.
Okay. Enothe. Almost did it myself.
Did you about to call me Enid? I'll fucking shoot the DM if I have to.
No,
I will aim my arrows at God himself.
I stumbled over my words. So, Enothe, what are you doing while they go to the pub?
I guess I'm doing the boring ass thing of sitting still and just kind of keeping an eye on things.
I mean, you don't have to.
So
You can do what you want.
I'm gonna generally talk to the priests around and try and find out more information about the night that he broke in.
Sure. Okay.
That's a productive thing.
I mean, we can sort of say over the course of like a sort of discussion as these two wander off, nothing sort of stood out about that night really for them. It was just sort of, they just happened to come back into their back room after the day's worship and found the guy sort of making his way in through the window. Looked to be trying to be sneaky, but failed, obviously.
Classic Bork.
Yeah, I mean, this priest and the other kind of lower attendant priest are, you know, they're not old men, they're kind of late 20s, so it wasn't a big deal for them to grab the guy. You know, he wasn't particularly, I mean, you saw him, he wasn't particularly big, he was, you know, it wasn't a big muscly guy or anything. So they were able to kind of grab him and take him over to the watch house with fairly minimal effort, and he kind of struggled, but not like, it was almost like once they grabbed him and caught him, he sort of was almost like you saw him, kind of struggling as much against himself as anything else.
Good times.
Good talk. Okay, you two enter the pub. It's about lunchtime. You kicking the door open?
I'm doing a Woody.
Yeah.
Walking in, clicking. Howdy.
Thor against behind. Oh, yeah. Afternoon there, Bork. How you doing?
I'm tipping my hat to everybody that I'm walking past. Anybody that acknowledges me from the day before, recognises me as
yeah, Thor will give to you the look, Mr. Pronce.
We just a little bit above normal talking volume.
Yeah.
We just had a tour of the temple.
Temple, you say?
It's a nice place.
Can't say I go in there much myself.
It's pretty good. I was just wondering if anyone's picking up on us.
It's not too busy. There's a couple of people in here, and like it's not like you've gone like I've just come back from Buckingham Palace. It's literally like
I've just come back from the local church.
Yeah, pretty much. It's pretty much yeah.
Well, both of us are looking around in a way that was like we really expected something to come from that.
Yeah, nobody really reacts.
Well, I'm done.
Well, I'm one out of ideas. Yeah.
Pronce pulls out a whole gold. In what is now becoming something of a signature move in this pub, and just puts it on the table and says, "You know how this goes."
She gives you, and I guess, I do. Drinks are on the wizard, lads. There's a bit of
Are any of the locals any more enthused? They weren't that. They were kind of like a little enthused last time.
Yeah,
a little bit more enthused.
It's a similar time of day to the other day. It's the barflies at this point. Like, there's maybe one or two like other people in from the fields in the corner having lunch quietly, but like it's not a packed house. A couple of like older gentlemen of the town are just the barflies kind of thing.
Okay, so wandering around from person to person, Pronce starts sort of leaning in and saying, no worries. Just sort of like making sure that
you're doing the rounds. Yeah.
Everybody understands that it was definitely him, and that they should acknowledge it, but they don't need to worry.
Yeah, one or two. Thank you kindly, sir.
And going around, he said that Pronce starts asking these people. So did you see this gentleman? There's a madman being kept in the local watch house. Did anybody see this man being caught? Did anybody see the affray?
Oh, I didn't see him. My brother did, though.
Oh, your brother? Is he here?
No, he's out hunting in the woods.
Hunting, you say? You don't suppose like he came back from a hunting trip the other day feeling a little dejected?
Aye, that's Rolf.
Turning to Bork, like, I think we know this man, don't we?
Yeah.
Do you remember where it was that we saw him last?
It was actually in the pub here. You saw him last.
Aside from... Before,
sorry, no, carry on.
Where we saw him out on the trail.
Specifics.
No? I was really hoping and counting on you here, but my knowledge falls into the arcane and mystical. Surely a man of the fighting and strength.
You suddenly hear this voice in the back of your head saying, "It was on the way back from the windmill, you prick."
Oh yeah, hang on. It was on the way back from the windmill.
At this point, someone else kind of speaks up as well. I was like, yeah, I saw it too.
Oh, yeah, really?
Now you're speaking up.
Yeah.
Background people.
Do tell us background people. What exactly did you see, sir?
I was on my way here, actually, from the down from getting away from the wife, and saw them priests hustling that bloke out the front of the temple. Took him over to the watch house. Looked to be in a bit of a state.
Okay, did you hear anything? Did he say anything in particular that struck your ears, or was it just the ramblings of a madman?
Oh, ramblings of a madman. You've met him then?
Oh yes, we've met him, and he met us.
I don't know what that means.
not as Pronce particularly, but it sounded like
it sounded good,
and that's what counted.
It sounded good in his head, like.
Like most things.
Well, if the madman's your deal, fair enough.
Turning back to Bork, it sounds like we've another lead. Perhaps we should stock up another packed lunch, perhaps?
Sounds a good plan.
Reaching into my pocket, I pull out the remains of the pocket pork.
It's like 2 days old at this point.
It's
we
not
trade it
good.
as a new pocket pork.
It's kind of like melty in your hand, and it's not in a good way.
I reached for the pork, but what came back was not pork anymore. And that just kind of gets like, you know how disgusting people will stick chewing gum to the bottom of chairs and things like.
Oh no!
Pronce just kind of like scrapes his hands, really kind of like in a. I'm being sly, but I'm obviously not being.
Can I get a stealth check for you?
7 with 0, so 7.
I mean, Thora sees you do it, and she's like, look, lads, you drop a lot of money here, but I've got to clean that shit up.
I chuck a silver on the table.
It's not it's not about the fucking money, lads.
He chucks another silver on the table.
I mean, I won't say no, but like, fuck's sake. Like, she gets like a dustpan and like... Okay, so cutting back to Enothe. You're hanging out and the priests are going about their business. At this point, you're just kind of looking out the front door. You see Officer Bowrick walk past. Looks over his shoulder as he goes. He's not ambling. He's kind of walking with a purpose.
Would you describe him as looking shifty?
Yeah. I mean, you've kind of seen his general manner. He doesn't seem to be like much of a like policeman on the go. So yeah, this strikes you as a little odd.
I'm gonna follow him.
You gonna follow him? Okay.
Always.
All right.
Creepily follow them. Creepily follow this guy.
See where he's going. Yeah. Okay. Like I say, he was kind of looking over his shoulder. He did seem shifty. So okay, can I get a stealth check from you?
Not bad. 19.
19. Okay, so yeah, you stick your head out of the door of the temple, looking around. You can see him sort of go around the corner. You don't need to sneak too much now. He's out of sight, but as you go, he sort of seems to be making his way quite. Again, his attempt at sort of not looking shifty, if you know what I mean. But
is it like Bork's attempt at stealth?
Sort of. He's kind of. No, he's not stealthing. He's kind of walking with a purpose, but obviously like trying not to draw too much attention to himself. I think he's kind of checking around and that, but he doesn't see you. Just see him about to turn his head, and you manage to duck behind something.
Because I am in fact the early afternoon.
Yeah. You're whatever time of day is required for the amount of stealth at the time. Yeah. So yeah, you follow him for a good couple of minutes. You find him heading towards the eastern end of town, and he stops at the end of the road, looks around again. You manage to sort of to see him and kind of duck behind a sort of pillar on the edge of a house. You see him go through a side gate and towards and around the side of a quite large house, which is, you know where he lives because you followed him previously. This isn't his house. This is someone else's house. It's quite large.
Usefully creepy.
It's the largest on the row, sort of thing. And you lose track of him as he goes around the side of the house.
Even though I am in fact the early afternoon.
Yeah, no, I mean from where you're standing, you see him go around the side, and you can't see where he's gone.
I guess I'm going to follow him in.
Into the house or into the garden, kind of thing.
I need to find a vantage point. I'm looking around for a vantage point.
Sure. There's a couple of other houses, one either side. The one he's gone on in through the gate of has got quite a large kind of garden space, so it's not like you don't think you could jump the gap between houses, but you could get up to a higher vantage point either on either side or across the road if you climbed a house.
I've climbed a house before. You
have, but now it's the early afternoon.
But I am the early afternoon, so it's fine.
Sure. Okay. Are you going for that then? Climbing up?
Yeah, I guess so. Trying to keep an eye on him.
Okay. Looking around, house to the left, there does a bit. You can hear sounds of life, and the house to the left of the larger house. So you rule that out as like someone might notice. The one on the right though does appear to be not abandoned, but like there's no one in it at the moment, kind of thing. It's someone's house, but they're out. Is a weird way of saying that. Can I get either an athletics or an acrobatics check, depending on how you want to go about this climb?
We'll go for acrobatics.
Yeah.
This didn't go well last time.
This didn't go well. Like you're a good at stealth. Not so good at the climbing.
No. 14. It's not terrible.
Not terrible. No.
I didn't land on my back.
You're not at like Bork's level of climbing. You know where he's basically.
I'm not at Pronce's level of backflips.
Yeah, Bork's kind of gravity resistant when it comes to climbing, so you're not quite that good. But like, it takes you 30 seconds or so. You manage to sort of get up onto the roof and kind of crouch down behind a chimney pot. Can I get a perception check for you?
7.
7. I mean, you don't see any signs immediately of Officer Barrick, but from where you're sitting, you can't see him. It doesn't appear like he's gone off past this house. You would guess he must be in this house somewhere. So from your vantage point, like I say, you can't see him, but you can see down into the garden, and it seems to be quite sort of well kept. Again, quite fancy for this town, really. There's like considering it's out in the countryside, this one actually has like a lawn that seems to have been kept, and there's like a nice kind of bench and a little water feature around the back that you can see. And actually looking down by the bench, you do see what looks to be like a cup of drink of some sort on a saucer that's been abandoned.
Oh, I don't have the love potion.
I'm at the pub if you want it.
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to make it back to the pub in here in time. In all likelihood. I guess I just keep watch.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah. It seems unwise to leave the area if I can try and keep an eye on it.
Alright, okay. I will cut back to you in a second. But yeah. So meanwhile, while he's off on his stalking.
Right, so Pronce
you guys are
finished cleaning his hand off at last.
Yeah.
We've got a packed lunch, paid for another packed lunch.
Yeah.
We've got our pork.
You hear Thor, like, are you leaving the...
Yeah. We're gearing up to go and try and find this hunter. I forget what his name was already, but...
Rolf, yeah.
Rolf. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the trail where we were, Bork, and find Rolf.
Let's go hunt Rolf.
Yeah. As you approach the woods, there's no sign of him from the outside. Are you heading into the woods?
Are we in the same spot that we were at already, or are we still on the way?
I took it that you kind of went to the spot where you met him before, which is pretty close to the pub. It's sort of like a 5-10 minute walk in sort of out of town.
Now, how are either of us at, like... If we needed to find this man in the forest and we were looking for indications, what would be the skill that we're looking at?
Survival.
I've got +2.
0.
Okay, well, as we're wandering through the forest, then Pronce is looking for
survival. Why are you landing backflips? What is Pronce?
He's not a woman, he's not a man, he's something that he'll never understand.
Rhymes really closely.
Not a woman, he's not a man.
It's lyrics, Prince lyrics.
My only regret is that you haven't managed to give every single one of your lines in rhyme.
I'm not that good, unfortunately. But anyway, so walking around looking for signs of snap twigs, that kind of stuff. 17 +2.
That's
19.
pretty good. Yeah, I mean, again, you this is the similar trail that you took to get to the goblin place the other night. So you quite quickly, in the light of the early afternoon, do find the trail again. As far as snap twigs and stuff go, there's signs that you guys came through here the other night, blundering around in the dark. Not really any kind of new sets of footprints immediately.
Do I find the trail where I ran 30 feet away from everybody?
No, that was a little bit further in, but you guys kind of wander for about 5 minutes, and then you hear a shout. Afternoon, lads. How's it going? You look round and there's... Again, audio podcast and great physical comedy from Mark.
I turned sharply and I put up
Everyone was
Ninja hands.
Oh, Rolf! And Pronce reaches over and kind of lowers Bork's hands like calm boy, calm.
Easy target.
Rolf, well met. How is the hunt?
A little bit better now the goblins are gone. God. Still no sign of any deer or anything, but if you listen, you can hear the wildlife's coming back.
Ah, wonderful, wonderful. We spoke to your brother in the pub.
Oh, yeah.
And Pronce smiles in a way that's sort of like, the pub.
it's your favourite place in town. They have the beer that you like.
And he was telling us that you witnessed a madman being taken in by the watch the other day, and we were just wondering, as this man appears to be the source of some local consternation, that perhaps you could tell us more about what he was...
Yes, oh yeah, that's right. Coming back into town and saw him, them priests leading him out of the temple, straight over the road, ranting and raving like no one's business.
Was there anything more you could say? Like, we've heard a lot of people telling us all about the ranting and the raving. Did you hear anything specific? Did he talk? Did you get any impression of where he might have come from, perhaps?
Well, I don't know, them clothes he was wearing might have been dirty, but I know fancy clothes when I see them.
Oh, aye?
Not from around here.
Oh, where do you think they were from?
No, not that I get out of this area much, but I ain't seen something that fancy since the capital. Went there on holiday as a boy.
Have you been to the capital, Bork?
Have I been to the capital?
Have you been to the capital? Yeah, you might have done.
I might have done.
That's where they manufacture.
Roll to see if you
Okay, well, hold on. Oh, this is up to you with your characterness. Like, because you're like 40, right?
Yeah. 40.
Yeah, like in your 45 years. I mean,
I probably remember if I've been.
yeah, I mean, you'd probably remember.
Depends how much bottle he's had. Rots the brain.
This is true.
In your previous life as a married man, did you ever make it to the capital?
I can't believe I forgot that you used to be married.
Didn't it come out at one point?
Yeah, they left me because of my problems.
Yeah.
Oh yeah!
Bork's an addict of sorts.
He's addicted to danger and Bovril.
Addictive personalities and all sorts. You know what? No, I don't remember the capital.
Well, that's a dead end.
But let's ask him. How far is the capital?
A couple 100 miles from here.
Shit.
I mean, no, you'd know where the capital was compared to you just haven't been there.
Yeah. Correct.
Well, I don't see that it's worth our time just swanning off in that direction.
This is falling apart. Right?
You're like a couple 100 miles. Well, best get started.
Down I go.
Yeah.
Oh, Pronce is still loosed, and that beer is still sloshing about. So, I'm trying to rack my brain for what else we could ask this man. I was really hoping that he'd have something to tell us more about this madman.
Well, he just kind of basically saw in passing what the other guy did, almost, except he's got the hunter's eye, he saw the fancy clothes. I mean, unless you've got another question you want to ask.
Have you... we just crossed paths with you. Have you been out in the woods there yourself? You look like you've been kind of...
I mean, we're in the woods now, mate.
Yeah, but...
This is completely falling apart.
It's just that time.
I don't know why that tickled me so much.
One, fuck you, and two, have you been deeper into the woods?
Yeah, I walked out there this morning, yeah.
Have you seen anything unusual in the woods?
Bunch of dead goblins and bugbears, but as far as I know, that's your doing.
I can't go anywhere with these.
Recognising the Bork is very close to doing something about this conversation. Well, it seems that we've met the end of our investigations, and good hunting to you.
Good day to you, sir. I said good day. That's the second good day to you, sir. In the day,
good day and morrow, and good tidings of the season, and a bountiful harvest to you.
He gives you the night. He doesn't seem to realise that he might have pissed Bork off somehow.
It's just frustrating. We ask you some questions, and you don't give us anything.
Well, what were you asking? You were like, have you been in the woods today? And he's like,
I don't know.
Yes. What was the line of... Yeah, pretty much. He was like...
What do you think? Look at the fucking trees, Bork. Look at the trees.
Your question was literally, have you been in the woods today?
Yeah,
and you were in the forest.
I'm getting back you.
What were you leading to with it?
Doesn't matter now, does it?
Right. Bork goes and sits by a tree, and you can just see his shoulders crying.
Rolf turns to you, Pronce. He's like, is he all right?
It's been a long day.
He's had a tough life. I've heard tell of a broken relationship and a habit that he couldn't keep under control. And perhaps it's all getting to him a little bit.
He's all right. We've all been there.
I mean, he tries his hardest, but sometimes the questions just aren't quite where they ought to be. And I suppose, well, as I said, Ralph. himself thinking he got it wrong the first time. Saying, Ralph, perhaps you should get back to looking for those elusive deer of yours, because it looks like I need to take a moment here with my friend and undo what you've done to it, quite frankly.
Well, I don't understand how I did it, but fucking fine. He's gonna... And he kind of tips his hat. He's like, well, have a good one.
Will do. Hat tip straight back at you. and then
he walks off among the trees, whistling to himself.
To Bork. Are you all right? Are you all right, Bork? It's okay. I know we were in the woods. I know that you were going to ask another question. He was an impatient man, and that was nasty.
Yeah. He was.
And I kind of like rub a tear from under your eye in that way. It's like a parent consoling a child. Like, it's going to be okay. We're going to find the the nasty men that did the thing to the madman, and then we'll be okay. Okay, we'll go back to the pub and have another drink.
Okay.
And with that, we kind of get up and head back in.
You guys make your way back to the pub. Okay, so meanwhile...
Fucking king stones to the... I can't breathe. Meanwhile...
So yeah, meanwhile, you're on the roof. Can I get another perception check from you?
Yes. It's 11.
11? Okay. So you sat there for a couple of minutes, you're not waiting long at all, and you see through a side window in this house, Officer Barrick going upstairs, leading again, not young, but again, you'd sort of put early 30s, quite well dressed lady upstairs with him.
This is a brothel.
Is that your guess?
That's my guess.
Okay.
Brings in a lot of money, probably makes more money than everything else. Small town. He's sneaking away looking dodgy. It could be a brothel. I'm not saying it definitely is. Maybe I've just played too much Witcher.
It could be. It's a larger house. It's larger than any of the other ones you've seen.
I'm gonna walk in.
Sure. Okay. Go.
I'm gonna drop down and I'm gonna go in the same way that he went in.
Okay, the side door.
Yeah.
Okay. So going in the side door, you find yourself in a quite well-appointed kitchen. No signs of anyone. A door. There's a small door which you would guess would be to like a sort of pantry kind of cupboard sort of area, and a much larger door is currently closed. Are you going through the larger door?
I'll follow the doors that are open, like listening ahead to make sure I don't run into.
Yeah, okay, make a perception check for me then, if you're listening at the door. 7. You can't hear anything through this door.
No.
No signs of life.
Can't hear anything. Roll the 7.
Sounds like wood.
Yeah.
You going through?
This is the larger door. And so the other door's open.
Yeah, it's kind of ajar. Looking through it, kind of looks to be like a pantry sort of thing. Nobody in there.
Okay, I guess I'll try to slowly open the larger door then.
Sure. Okay. Can I get a stealth check from you?
21.
21. You open this door silent as hell.
It's the only thing I can do.
You even feel the vibration in it as if it's about to creak, and you manage to sort of put a hand and steady it, and so you open the door and you find yourself at the end of a hallway. Nice fancy wood panelling on all the walls. As you make your way down, you see a large portrait painted very well up on the wall of what looks to be a man in his 50s. Next to him is a lady who looks fairly similar to the one that you saw being led upstairs, and there is what looks to be a hunting dog painted beside him.
Dog's reassuring. I have a potion of animal friendship just in case. I guess I continue sneaking, alright?
Continue sneaking. You find yourself at the bottom of the hall. Kind of opens out into a larger sort of hall area, at the bottom of a quite large staircase, which looks to be the one that you saw Barrack going up with the woman from outside. You can see the windows that you saw through. And again, this area is empty, but there's a few fancy paintings on the wall. No signs of any life here.
I'm going to continue stealthing my way up the stairs.
Okay, sure. Can I get another stealth check from you? So you're trying different things, you know.
14.
14? Okay, not quite as stealthy as when you opened the door, but like no sign, you know, you're sneaky at this point. There's actually a couple of the stairs have kind of like a kind of cloth sort of carpet on them, so you're able to kind of tiptoe your way up. So yeah, make your way to the top of the stairs. You find another hallway, a few doors to rooms, but at the end of the corridor is what would look to be sort of, if you would guess anywhere, like the entranceway to a larger kind of bedroom. The door is kind of ajar, and you can sort of hear sounds of giggling and something going on, maybe of a sexual nature.
How are you going to do the Foley for that?
I'm going to sneak closer. What do I hear, AJ?
You hear... maybe not that. That's a little... So sneaking closer, you can just about see through the gap in the doorway a rather, again, quite nice looking young woman, but the rather unnice looking, now mostly naked form.
Go ahead and recoil from the door at that point.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking gross. Yeah. Yeah.
Deep breaths.
They seem to be in the process of about to be getting down.
I'm going to check out the rest of the house.
Sure. Okay. They seem enough kind of...
They're going to be busy.
Yeah, they're busy. Short of you like slamming doors and stuff, I don't need any more stealth rolls from you. Now that you know what's going on. You find upstairs a sort of quite neatly appointed sort of study of sorts. There's some paperwork on the desk and a small bookshelf with some, you know, a lot of books on it. Classic bookshelf. You looking at the paperwork at all or anything like that?
I guess I'm looking at the paperwork.
Okay,
yeah.
Can I get an investigation roll? Just this isn't going to be a particularly hard one.
19.
19. Well, that was a pretty good roll anyway. A lot of these letters appear to be addressed to a man. It's a male name, Rodolphus Hume, Mayor of Erevale.
Who's out on business? Kinky.
Yep.
Enothe says to himself. Classic Enothe. So this is probably the mayor's house then, hence it being more expensive. I'm a little disappointed it's not a brothel. They're all probably a bit too young for me, but still. But I could buy one for Pronce if he keeps behaving and doesn't burn me.
Jesus.
Pronce
because people are property, yeah.
I mean, well, no, not like I meant for enough.
Yeah, no, it's just the way. Yeah, it's
come on,
it's just the way you phrased it. So yeah, you would deduce this is probably the mayor's house.
I'm going to continue sneaking around and see if there's anything else I can. But I feel like that's probably what I'm going to find. To be fair, so he's sleeping with the mayor's wife, which is probably why he was looking shifty the other night. I'm going to go tell his wife.
I mean, the wife is currently
not the mayor's wife.
Oh,
Bauer, right? Did he not have a?
He didn't.
Did he not?
No, he didn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
He was sort of in the house alone when you went back to his previously.
Can I draw an incredibly accurate portrait?
I mean,
there's no point.
You can draw an incredibly accurate portrait if you want. I guess that would be like that'd be like a dexterity check, I guess. Like,
but Bork and Pronce need to know what happened.
I'm not drawing your imagination. I'm not drawing your porn. Okay, I'm gonna leave the building because I assume
leaving the building. Yeah.
Downstairs.
Very, very normally with no required checks because I'm just.
You're just like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. Yeah.
I'm
okay.
out.
Yeah. Are they out? Yo. Yeah. So yeah, you
drop a smoke bomb and have it just
you quickly leave the premises feeling fairly creeped out.
A little gross. Can I go have a bath? I feel like
I I mean, you could go back to the inn if you wanted to have a bath.
I'm just gonna go wash my hands a few times.
Just wash my eyes. Yeah. Yeah, so that was kind of creepy. Like, just the whole sight of, like...
It was not nice.
He's not a handsome man.
I've seen many things in my 129 years. That was not something I needed to see.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just going to go...
It's not your deal.
I'm just going to go back to the inn and just kind of wash a little bit, and then I'm going to head back to the temple.
Sure, okay. You go into the inn, Thor's there, she kind of like... Afternoon, Mr. Mr.
No, with you.
Okay, fair enough.
Back in a sec.
Do you want me to call you?
Yeah, okay.
No, okay, all right.
Wow.
And that's, yeah, she does, like, when you come back down from, like, you're now just like dripping wet in the face and everything, and like, I'm assuming you just basically dunked your head in a basin and screamed underwater for a good 10 seconds. Yeah.
Sorry, can I have a whiskey?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, there's enough left on your friend's tab.
Fantastic. I'll take 3.
Okay. Do you want them in the one mug?
Yeah, that'll do.
Okay. She has you a large mug of whiskey.
Get down in it.
Okay.
Just back in one.
Sure. Yeah. Can I get a Constitution saving throw?
Oh God. It wasn't good. It's 2.
Straight through it there.
It's straight to your fucking head. You're like, it gets you, and you're like, whoa, oh God, I needed that. Right, let's get back to that temple.
I need food.
Well, I can whip you up something if you want.
I just need potatoes. Just make potatoes.
Do you want
potatoes, and I need...
Do you want them cooked?
Any green vegetables you have, and some water.
Sure. Well, you sure you don't want any more whiskey?
No.
All right.
No, that was probably... I helped, but it was probably a mistake.
Well, it's a bit late for that now, isn't it?
Yeah. There's no point worrying about it.
Okay, she goes, well, okay, give me a minute. She comes back with a large plate of, like, a load of potatoes and greens and things, and a quite large mug full of water.
I'm going to down water.
Yeah.
I need another water.
Okay, she's got another one ready to go.
You're very good at this.
Yes, that's what I do.
Clearly. My friend's going to tip you next time he comes in.
Yeah, it's fucking better. Unless he left on my table.
On that note, how far from town are we now? Are we
you're just approaching the inn now if that's your destination.
It is. So as this is being spoken, Inn opens the door.
Yeah.
Bork leading the charge as usual.
Is Bork like...
He looks looking a little red in the eyes.
So Bork comes in with like blood-stained eyes, and I'm sopping wet, basically.
Yeah.
This is not being a good afternoon.
So, we can drink. Drinking's fine.
He's drunk. Bork, he's drunk.
This is a first for us.
Do you want another one?
No, but you need to tip. You.
What? She's got all my money.
No, she doesn't.
I just throw another silver on the table like I did it earlier in the day.
She catches it in midair.
She's getting good at this now, then.
She's learning.
Pronce throws a wink and a gun in her direction. Like,
I mean, she's not angry with you. She's just like, I think you get the feeling like maybe like her patience is wearing thin sometimes, and like it was more like the mess you left was like she was happy before that, and then you just got a bunch of like rancid pork and wiped it on the side of a table right in front of her. Like, so she needs to cool down a little bit, but she's happy to take your money.
Well, unfortunately, speaking to the hunter, we found out approximately bugger and all. So did you learn anything?
I don't want to talk about what I saw.
But what did you see? Like,
No,
this sounds like it's pertinent information.
No,
I need a detailed description.
No.
Where have you been?
Not gonna happen.
You look like you've seen things.
I've seen a lot of things.
Do you see dead people?
No. Fat people.
Oh.
I'm just gonna keep eating my... No.
Where is this going?
I'm gonna go try and sleep this off. I'll be back in a couple hours.
Let's have some drinks, Bork.
Yeah, I need to pick
Okay, so you buy a round. Thora brings them over to you. You getting food with that as well? Yeah, why not? It's lunchtime. Yeah, you get yourself some food. You sit yourself at your customary table and think about what the next day may bring. Okay, that's about going to do it for this episode. We'll be back with Enothe, Pronce and Bork in a few episodes' time, but please do join us next time for the beginning of our crossover with our friends at Spotlight. It does promise to be a lot of fun. We always want to hear your thoughts, comments and questions about the show, and you can get in contact with us on Twitter and Facebook, both of which we are at Pretend With Dice. You can also email us directly at pretendingwithdice@outlook.com. If you're listening to us on iTunes, please rate and review us as well. We really want to hear your opinions, and it helps us to reach new listeners. And once again, thanks so much for listening. See you next time.